Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. Today we're doing a step-by-step painting tutorial of a nice sunrise seascape boat scene. So we'll take you through step-by-step how to do this one. I've painted this one before in virtual reality using vermilion. I'll link that below if you do want to check that out, but I thought it would be fun to do this one with acrylic paint on an actual canvas. I'll list below the paints that I'm using. The brand that I'm using for this one is just all Liquitex Basics, but you can use other brands as well. And if this is your first time joining me for a tutorial, I encourage you to go back and check out my other tutorials on my channel. And make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future ones as well. But let's jump right into this one. Alright, so here we are at our workspace here. My palette's a little bit dirty still from other paintings, but that's okay. I got space here to work. So as you've seen the picture already, we're going to be painting a beautiful, nice sunset boat scene, or sunrise actually, I think we'll call it. So with this, we're going to start with the sky, work into the little kind of plateau that comes out, do the water, boats, and then the reflections as well after that. So to create a nice sunset sky, we're going to need some white, we're going to need some yellow, maybe even a little bit of orange, red, and I'm also going to use some, I think I'm going to use some Cobalt Blue here. And with the yellows, you could also use a yellow ochre if you'd like. So I'm using all just Liquitex Basics. I know in some previous tutorials I've used just like craft paint, but I decided for this one I'm going to just use some of the Liquitex Basics. Alright, so we want our horizon line to be about 1/3 of the way up or 2/3 of the way down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of each of these down here. I don't know how much of this primary yellow I'm going to want to use, so I'm just going to put a little bit of it down to start. And same with this orange. I think it's going to kind of mix itself out here on its own, so alright, so I'm just going to use just a flat brush here, just it's a little bit wider, just so we can cover this space a little bit easier. And with acrylic paints, the trick is to work fast because as we're going, we're going to want to blend these colors in together, but they're going to start to dry fast, and so if we want to get a proper blend, we need to move quickly. You can use things like retarder fluid. I'm going to do it without, just to show you, because I know, some people are just starting out doing tutorials like this. They might not have those kind of tools there, so I want to do it without, just so we are all on the same page here. So what I'm going to do, usually when I do a blue sky, I start at the top and work my way down, but with this one, I'm going to start with my lightest and kind of work my way up. So I'm just going to grab some white here on my brush, and I'm going to lay out here where I want that horizon line to actually be. If you want to, you could use painter's tape to get a nice straight horizon line. I'm not too worried about it being perfect, so I'm just going to paint that in there. Alright, so from here I'm going to grab some yellow onto my brush here. And just keep those brush strokes horizontal for now. And just start moving this side to side. Gonna get a bit more white in here. And you can see I'm slowly kind of working my way back down to that white that I already laid, and that gives it a nice clean transition between the two. Now I'm going to grab some of this yellow ochre here, and it seems pretty dark to start, obviously, so I'm going to grab some white to go along with that. And just doing that same idea here. Scrubbing that into some parts there if you need. And every so often, just kind of working your way back down. And that's going to ensure more of a clean transition between colors. Alright, from here I'm actually just going to grab some of this red. I'm going to grab some of this white to go with it. And I'm going to start it just above to kind of see where I'm at here. I need some more white into there. Still too red for my liking. And I'm going to start spreading that around. Work my way back down a little bit into this yellow ochre. And we're going to take some of that yellow ochre and white here. Just mix some of that in there. One more time. And if you get some spots like this right here, that's where the yellow ochre is kind of above the pink line. That's totally okay. I'm going to need a bit more white on my palette here. And now at the very top, I'm going to add some of this Cobalt Blue. And add a little bit of red to it here as well. And that's just gonna give us some purple, right? Sorry, I feel like I need a little bit more of this yellow ochre up in here, just a little bit. Alright, I'm just kind of adding in just different colored smaller streaks here throughout, right? And that's going to give it a bit more of a, as if there's kind of wisps of clouds. Alright, once you feel like you've got that where you want it, you can rinse off your brush. I just have water in little mason jars. I like using jars because they can seal for me. And I'll often just wipe off my brush before I put it in the water so the water doesn't get as dirty as quickly. And for my wipes I just use gold clothes that I've cut up. Alright, so from here, I'm now going to, sorry, paint the we'll call it the base of the water part. We're going to be adding some of the reflections in later. We're just going to do kind of the main colors of the water to start, and it's just going to be the opposite of what we did up here. So we're going to do some white in here, and then the darker colors will be towards the bottom. So I'm just going to grab white again here, and we're going to spread that along this horizon line. And with this lighter white here as well, I'm also going to bring that down as if it's going in between the two boats here, where the two boats are going to be. I'm going to take a little bit of yellow ochre, a little bit of red, mix that in together here. That's still too light. Kind of work our way around here. And here I'm doing nice horizontal strokes, and we want them to be horizontal, especially with the water, because any ripples that appear in the water will appear horizontal. So I'm just kind of adding a few throughout there as well. Again, I need more white on my palette. Just gonna wipe the brush off. I'm not gonna totally wash it out. Just gonna take some yellow ochre there and some white. And if you want to add texture to it as well, just get more paint on your brush and just apply it pretty thick. And that'll allow you to get some texture in there as well. Now I'm just going to start kind of working my way down. And over on this side as well, actually. Alright, I think I got that water where I want it for now. If there's anything you need to blend out more, just go ahead and do that. I'm gonna wipe off and wash off this brush. I think I'm done with this one for now. Now I'm going to take just a shorter flat one, and I'm going to, for the sake of colors here, I'm just going to grab black so it's easy for you to mix that as well. Add a little bit of black to our palette here, and I'm going to use one of my palette knives here to mix it. This one. I'm just going to take some of this black and some of the blue, and obviously just make a really dark blue. And I'm going to turn this sideways just so I can get a better angle at these straight lines that I'm going for. And we're just going to paint in the plateau here. So I want this plateau, if we kind of follow that horizon line, to be right in here. And I know I'm not getting right up to it, but we're going to be adding a reflection in there. If you've used painter's tape to make your line, it'll be really easy to tell where it is. And this is going to come out about that far here. I'm just going to turn it this way and take a look. Yeah, we'll go to about there. And then we're going to have the top of it come out right here, kind of come down, go out there, and come down to a point here. Then I'm just going to go and fill it in. Alright, once that's filled in, I'm just going to turn it back like this. Fix any spots that you see. And now all I'm going to do is just going to take a little bit of white, just a little bit, you don't need much. Mix that into part of this here, and you're going to see it's going to instantly light that up. And I'm going to take that lighter color here now, and I'm just going to go in and just dab it in down this peninsula. And this is just creating some texture for us. And then again, just going to take a little bit more white here. Wipe this off. And then again, just do that exact same thing. And here's where you can kind of really create where the ups and downs of the peninsula are, right? If there's any little inclines throughout it. And then I'm going to take almost pure white here, mix it in and do that one more time, but just a little more sparingly throughout, not all over it like the other ones that we were doing. Alright, once you have that in, I'm going to go in here now we're going to add in kind of the reflection of this. So I'm just mixing up a little bit more of this darker blue-gray. And here it's just going to be very horizontal-like still. And if things starting to lighten up for you a bit, that's okay. And here's where you can try to get the shape of the peninsula going into the reflection as well. And we don't really want to add the details of the peninsula into the reflection, so I'm just going to do just lighter horizontal strokes in a few different spots here throughout, and that's going to act like kind of mimicking any of the details on the peninsula. Sorry. And then to make it kind of be a bit more reflection-like, I'm just going to go in and just add a few spots where it almost kind of comes out of its spot, if that makes sense. A few little horizontal lines coming out here, right? Alright, I like that for now. I think one thing I want to adjust on it before we move on, I'm going to take a little bit of white, just a hint of red, and just add what would be this red color kind of coming into the reflection area here. There we go. Alright, now we're going to move on to our boats. So for the boats, we're just going to be using some black here to begin, or some of this really dark blue color that we've been using here. And for the masts, I've got a really thin brush here. You could use the brush we were just using and turn it so it's vertical, but I'm going to use this one here. But before I do that, I do want to just kind of block in the boats to know where they're going to be, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to take this darker gray that we've mixed here, and the top of the left boat is going to be pretty much at the horizon line, right over here. And then it's going to come down to about there, come out, and then it's going to work its way down onto the water. It's going to come down right here, come out, and I'm just going to turn this so I can get a better angle at it. It'll come down and then move over to connect there. For the other boat, it's going to be over to the right here. And at the horizon line, it's kind of already moving up a bit like that. Just doing a short line up, working its way back down. So it's as if it's almost facing us, right? Not quite, but almost facing us. So it's going to be not as wide as the other one. Okay, there's the outline of the boats. And you can just look at the reference image and kind of sketch them in. That's all I'm doing here. And I think I might make this one slightly wider. And that's easy to do. Just gonna bring it out here a bit more. And bring that up. And to start, all I'm going to do actually, I'm going to take some more of this black, some more of the blue, and I'm just going to fill these in. And looking at these now, this one is at too much of an angle going up there. I don't know what was going on there when I drew that line. We're just going to fill these in here. And we can add some detail on top of it. If this is your first time painting with me, I'm happy that you're here. I hope you're enjoying this. If you painted with me before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't seen my virtual reality painting tutorials, I'd encourage you to go check those out. It's a lot of fun. If you have a VR headset, then all you need to get is the Vermilion app. And you can also follow those tutorials just with real paint too. Things will be slightly different, but most of it's all the same idea. I actually did this one first in virtual reality, and then I thought, oh hey, I should make a real version of this one too, because I liked it. Okay, just blocked that one in. Do the same on this side. Actually, I'm just going to look at that first one, see if that's how I want it. Yeah, it's good. With this one here, I think I'm going to bring this out a little bit more as well. And then we'll just fill this in. So since I'm right-handed, I like having the edges that I'm working on the other side, so I like flipping this around to work on it. Okay. I think I'm going to be done with this brush for a minute, so I'm going to wipe it and rinse it so that paint doesn't dry on it. Alright, before I go anywhere else, I think I am going to add in the masked lines here. So for that, we're going to use this same darker color. So I'm just going to mix some of this in here. I'm going to get a little bit more of this blue. So this can be tricky because they're very straight lines. So sometimes with straight lines, I'll use painter's tape, but with really thin lines like this, it's almost more annoying too. And so what I think I'm going to try to do, I've got a ruler here, and with this ruler, I think I'm going to just kind of lay that over top of where I want it and just paint alongside the ruler. I've actually never really painted on this one. It's an old one I got from a lady, and you know it's old because it says it's the property of the government of Canada, but it's in inches, and we don't use inches in Canada anymore. We use centimeters. So it is a pretty old one, but it's okay if I get it a little bit painted up. There's a few paint spots on it. So I'm just going to kind of lay it where I want it, and then just paint thinly with this brush just beside it. If you want to just try to freehand it, you can do that. I'm a pretty shaky person, so that's why I don't want to freehand it. So this, it's a little bit tacky still. I don't want to spread too much of the paint because of the ruler here. So I'm just going to let it dry for a minute, and then we'll come back. Alright, so this one coming out of the top is kind of one of the major masts on this one. It's one of the thicker ones. So we're going to do that one first. And it's going to go almost to the top, right? And if you want to add a little bit of water to the paint just to help it flow a little bit better, you can do that. I'm going to add in just a little bit of this glazing liquid, if I can get any to come out. It's just dried on top. There we go. Just because as we're doing this, I want it to flow more. I'm going to take this off here and see where we're at. Okay. And I'm just going to freehand a little bit of this. And I don't know which way I like this best. Maybe we'll leave it this way. Okay, good enough for that one right now. If you have paint pens, you could also just pen those lines in. And I think I might try that for the next one here, because the next one's going to be thinner than this one that we just did. And then I think I'll do one with painter's tape to show you how to do that as well. Well, I'm sure you get the idea, but alright, so this one's going right to the top as well. Well, that's much easier, isn't it? Then we're going to have a line coming through the middle here. I'm going to create another one coming from the very back here. I know it's different than the reference image we're using, but I just feel like adding that one in there. The line coming through right there. I'm going to fix up a few of these spots here on this one. And then with this one we also have one coming off the front, but not going quite to the top. And then this one has a line coming off of it as well. Alright, I'm gonna just take this pen here. And just maybe clean up that edge a little bit. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Alright, for the boat on the left, I'll do one of them with painter's tape just so we can get an idea of what that's like. I've got pretty thick painter's tape here. It's pretty wide. So we're going from the top of the boat right there, pretty much to the top of the painting. If you want to freehand any of this, if you have a steady hand, by all means. I just do not have a steady hand, as you saw with my other line over there. Alright, now we want this to be on the other side, and we want it to be the thickness of the mast, right? Okay, so about like that is what we want it. I think we are going to have this one go right close to the top there. Alright, once you have the line in, just take the tape off. And there you go. It gives you a nice, really nice straight line. I'm not going to use that for the rest. You can use that for the rest if you want. I just found this paint pen a lot simpler. There's a few different types of paint pens that you can get. Some have oil paint in them, so you're going to have to shake them and everything. And we got one more kind of right here. And then a line coming across. We're going to go one right there and one right there. Alright, there's the masts. Gonna be done with that ruler for now. Now what we need to do is do some of the details on the boats. So I'm going to take some of that Cobalt Blue that we were using before, put just a little bit of black with it, and that's going to be more of the actual color of the hull of these boats. I'm just kind of dabbing it in, reason being just trying to get a little bit of texture with it as well, right? So whatever you're painting, you got to think of where your light source is coming from. The light source is obviously coming from behind the boats, so the front of the, or kind of behind to the side here. And so the side of the boats that we're looking at are in the shadows, and so that's why we're making them more blue than anything else here. Same with this one over here. And these boats kind of have that like tarp over top of them, as if they're sleeping inside, block out that sunlight. So this one, to kind of create that tarp sensation, we're just going to take some of this black that was mixed with that blue, and I'm just going to dab some of this in right here. Then I'm also going to use that as well, just kind of along the bottom of the boat, slightly up into it on this back side here. For the other boat, that's going to be going on right in here, the darkest spots. And then a little bit along the bottom as well again. Okay, I'm just going to take a bit more blue to that. Oh, where's my white? I think I'm out of white. Need a little bit of white here. Take a bit more white with that. And now with this color, I'm just going to go in and dab this in. Again, just trying to create some texture for it. Same with this boat over here. And then even lighter as well, and that's going to go on this side here. And this boat on this one over here, a little bit of this is actually touching the sun here, so I'm just going to add with some white, and it's going to mix in a little bit with what's on my brush already. gonna add that coming around this side of the boat, as if that's it in the sunlight there. Take a bit more, just kind of blue. Alright, I'm going to wipe that off. For the front of this one here, this part's in the sun. And give it a little bit of white. The rest of it goes back into kind of the shaded area there. Alright, there's the boats finished. Now we're going to go in here and kind of add the reflections of the boats. So for that, we're going to start with this darker blue. And I'm just going to add that in, just using that same brush. Just nice light horizontal strokes right underneath of the boat, extending just past it. Add a bit more blue to that. Do that same thing with this side here. And if you want to add a little bit of water to kind of thin it out, you can. Or if you happen to have glazing fluid or anything, you can do that as well. And this I'm going to add kind of going down into here. I want a bit more blue into this, so I'm just going to grab some almost just pure blue and just kind of mix that in as it goes. I'm going to set that down for just a minute with this thin brush that I had. Actually, I didn't wash it off. I need to wash that off. I'm going to take this darker color that we had in here and do the reflections of the masts. Now remember, we don't want to continue that line going this way. Since it's a reflection, we want it to come the opposite way. So if that mast line is right here, I'm just going to go in lightly, not doing a full line, right? Just very, very lightly doing these opposite lines here. And if you make the lines a little bit more gray too, that's totally fine. Same with the other side here. Alright, now what I want to do is, still with this small brush, I'm going to grab a little bit of white here, a little bit of red, get some more white. Kind of making this pink color that's in here. And just go in with that. And just kind of slightly mix this more in throughout. And sorry, I'm trying to explain this the best. Just add little horizontal lines that are slightly different colored than what is there, and that's going to help create the illusion of ripples of water more around the boats, as if the boats are creating these ripples. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of the yellow ochre to mix in with that as well. Trying to keep the color somewhat close to what's around it. Alright, once you got those in where you want them, feel free to add as many as you feel is necessary. I feel like I could add, just kind of getting some almost pure white here, just on this side of the boat. Just where it's already really light anyways. And I do want to make it so our horizon line's a little bit more obvious. So I'm going to take kind of a darker pink here, I think. We're going to try it out and see what happens here and just kind of go in here. Turn this sideways and just add a little bit of a line in here where that horizon would actually be. Okay, one thing I feel like I'm missing, and I feel like should have maybe been corrected earlier, is on the peninsula there. I feel like we need some more blue. I really didn't get a lot of blue into it, so I'm going to just add some blue in throughout the peninsula here. To me, it's just too black. Which also means in turn that our reflection here needs a little bit of blue in it as well. Alright, if you feel like there's anything you need to adjust, or if you want to add some lighter highlights to this mast at all, the bigger one, you could go in and do that, but you don't have to. Any more highlights kind of in the on the boats at all. And yeah, then you can just sign it. So for this one, if I'm going to sign it, I can sign it down in this corner here. I honestly don't sign a lot of my paintings on the front. I do mainly on the back because I don't want to kind of mess up what's in the front. But you can just, I would just take one of these colors that we've already done in the water, maybe like this pink, and just sign it there. And you can and you can do the year if you'd like to as well. If there's anything else you want to adjust, now is the time to do that as well. I appreciate you joining me today. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to see your final project that you created. You can send those to me on social media or email them to me at brian@briansloanartist.com. If you haven't checked out my other tutorials on my website or on my channel, please go back and check those out and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And if you have any suggestions of things that you would like to see on my channel, any specific tutorials that you want to see, just let me know in the comments. Or again, send me a message. I'm more than happy to consider those for future videos. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time on Brian Sloan Artist.